Hi there, thanks for coming out this evening. I just want to go through a quick introduction. So my talk this evening is on PPC and big brands. So I work with some of Australia's largest brands, both nationally and internationally. And just a quick insight about who I am. So I'm Esteban, I'm from the UK. I went to Everest Base Camp 2 years ago. I worked in PPC since 2002. Had my own agency back in London, and did a podcast just last month on the Scott King Show about how to grow your business online and eliminate friction in the marketplace. And also I'm currently sharing information on Cura and growing that out to help more and more people be more successful with Google. So again, some of the brands I've worked with, it doesn't necessarily matter if you know them or not. I think what's important is regardless of the size, regardless if it's B2B, B2C or your industry, it's always going to be the case that you have a very large target. And again, every marketplace which you're in is fiercely competitive. If it's not, then you're in the wrong industry or your product isn't a right fit. As well as, how can you get customers to your site in some form, whether it's through email, social, organic or any other form. And it's becoming harder and harder. There's lots of data out there. People's attention spans are getting shorter and shorter. So any brand, big or small, you want to make sure that whatever you are spending online, it's delivering the results or it's working towards getting your consumer from the awareness phase to considering that brand, and then obviously then ultimately transacting and then finally acquiring them and making sure they come back time and time again. So with online marketing, I think it's a great industry because we have access to so much data about what customers are doing online. Especially with Google Analytics, you can track more and more every day about where they've been on your site, where they've come from, what they're doing, their gender, and a whole reel of different things inside that. But if you're not measuring the core metrics that matter to your business, then it doesn't matter what your visits are, it doesn't matter how many pages they've been. If they're not doing what you want, if they're not going down that sales funnel, it's a bit superfluous. So when you have large-scale campaigns, you need to be able to look at a whole wheel of different activities across different clients in real time and really be able to see where should I spend my time. Because again, we've all got just 24 hours in a day, and we need to make sure that whatever time we're spending it in making the needle move, and we're helping our clients to actually hit their targets. So what we use is a really powerful tool called Supermetrics. It plugs into all of your main traffic sources, so Google Analytics, Google AdWords, Facebook, Twitter, and many other sources. And it can pull your report. So any activity that you do for yourself, your brands, or your clients, I'm sure a lot of your reporting will be the same report each week or each month that you and your team have to pull. So this allows you to set these initial metrics up, and you can schedule them to repeat an update hourly, daily, weekly, as well as send them off to your team, to your manager, to your clients, and really help you see what's happening. So again, with Google AdWords, there's so many different metrics you can look into. You want to make sure that, we're looking at the ones that actually matter, the ones that are actually going to help grow the business and to help get the sales is ultimately what we're using Google AdWords for. So we've been using this for 2 years now in Australia, and we save so much time, and I've saved so much time because once you just have access to Google Analytics, you can within 5 minutes see a whole year's worth of data, but not just seeing it in a way of here's a nice looking table or a spreadsheet. You can clearly see this is where the weakest points are, as well as why you need to change that. Having data is meaningless unless you can actually understand what's happening and why, and then what you need to do to improve the results. So one of the other things that we look at, especially in the paid space, is regardless of how much money we're spending, regardless of how many keywords we've got and our objectives, is we're looking at what is the overarching quality score. So this is quite a fundamental thing to look at. Again, it isn't the make or break of a campaign, but it's definitely something that you need to be aware of. So again, you can have hundreds or thousands or tens of thousands of keywords. You'll be able to see is what the average quality score is. So when you have a new campaign or a new keyword, the default will be a 5 out of 10. And Google will then, if you think about what Google is for a moment, Google is a search engine that looks at relevancy. So whatever you type in any time of the day, the results that come back are what Google deems as the best and most relevant answers for that query. both in the paid and the organic space. So if your advert, your paid ad that you guys have created, that needs to closely align to what the customers typed in. So you have the ad copy, you have what the users typed in, and then finally what's on the landing page. So they're the three crucial things that you need to closely align. And the more aligned they are, the greater your quality score is. And more importantly, the greater the relevancy. Because you don't really care about the quality score. It's because really it's a case of, is the advert relevant to the consumer? So yes, we want to please Google, and yes, we want to have the lowest cost per click time and time again, but more importantly, our adverts that we're putting in front of consumers needs to be the best advert, because there's going to be 10 other adverts that are going to be competing in the same space. So regardless of your cost per click, Google is saying, well, are you relevant? As well as the user experience. How long does it take to load? Is it good navigation on your site? These are all the fundamentals that can make your campaign either increase in cost or decrease. And again, there's no client who has millions of dollars and just throws you a budget and just lets you do what you want. Those budgets are getting smaller and smaller, and the targets are getting greater and greater. So in a nutshell, you really want to have your overarching account to have a quality score of at least 7 out of 10, or at least be pushing into those areas, because that's where Google will then give you a discount cost per click, and you can either have higher average positions in the auction, as well as the cost will be significantly less. If you do a bad job, at the same time, it's going to suck for your business, because you're going to have to pay 400% increase on your cost per click, and that's not really going to help grow your business, and you're not going to be very successful on AdWords. Again, when you've got thousands of keywords, you can't be spending time, or you and your team can't be spending hours of time looking at every single keyword and seeing, where should I start, where should I focus my effort in. So again, using this tool, Supermetrics, plugs in, and it kind of literally spits out this kind of graph, and there's loads more underneath it, but I've just kind of, for simplicity, focused on the kind of the visuals, which kind of tells quite a strong story. So the graph here you can see on the left, this shows the overall account's quality score over the past 30 days. So the main thing there is we can see that it's going in an upward trend, which means that we're more relevant, we're getting lower cost per clicks, and the relevancy is higher. Then on the right-hand side, we can see the any particular campaign, so we can tie into a campaign and see how it's zoom into one campaign and see how that's performing, and do we need to make improvements there. Then we have on the second level on the left, we can see all of the keywords we have in that account. Well, what is the quality score for those? So really, what you want to look at is ones where you have lots of keywords that also have lots of impressions, which means they're getting seen a lot of times, and you have a low quality score. So that's where we're then prioritise anything that's less than a 5, that's getting, say, over 20% of the impressions in the entire account. We want to improve those quickly, because if we don't, we're going to be paying a lot of money, we're going to burn through our client's budget, and we're not going to be able to hit our target. So in this instance, you can see on this middle graph, like this blue line is the actual the impressions for all the quality scores. So I'm not sure if you can see, but you've got the quality score over there is 10 to 0. So it's really pleased to see that we can see most of our keywords are like a 7 or higher, as well as we can see the click-through rate. So really, we want to be able to say, okay, well, the ones that are getting click-through rates of 20% are 1 out of 10. We want to be able to continue having a high click-through rate of 20%, but we really want to push the needle and get that so we're getting a lower cost per click and we're getting more relevance. So definitely looking at how we can improve, save time. Save time is really important, as well as save budget for our clients. The next piece I want to kind of go into is, again, looking at the average position. So again, working on a scale from AdWords, which is 1 being the highest, 10 being the lowest in the ad auction. What you can also do with Supermetrics is see, okay, so whilst you're going to have a baseline average, you can look at your campaign or keyword and say the average position is 5 out of 10 or 3 out of 10. There will be times, again, Google, whenever you search for your advert, sometimes you might be in position 1, you might be in position 4. It's consistently changing because Google is consistently changing the results to see how customers respond, and you have different data samples. So in this example here, we can see one of our campaigns that's been running for a period of time, how its performance was when it was shown in position of either 1 to 6. So we've got the impressions, the clicks, and the click-through rate. As you can imagine, having a higher position, you get a higher click-through rate. But what's really important is, again, looking at what metrics really matter and going beyond just the initial kind of scoreboard. So we then say, okay, well, that's just the first phase. We can then drop in the cost and then say, okay, well, how much have we spent to get these average positions over time? And then second to that, what is the cost per click? So that's where we then say, well, in the first slide, yes, position 1 has a great click-through rate, as you'd expect, but you're paying a premium for that privilege. And ultimately, you're going to get fewer clicks to your site because it's more expensive, so you can't have the remaining budget to get other people to your site. And then ultimately, we're looking at, well, again, those metrics don't really matter. It's all about conversions, depending on your objectives and depending on the KPIs of your campaign. So again, here we can then say, okay, so depending on where our advert has shown, again, it's showing in 6 different positions. This is then what the conversion rate is. But lastly, we then say, well, we also want to mirror this against the conversion rate and then the cost per acquisition, which is one of the most important pieces. So again, it's really important to understand, whilst you can look at these in silos, whilst you can look at one of these metrics and say, okay, let's go for the lowest cost per click, or let's go for the highest conversion rate, it's not always going to align to the best outcome for your business or for your client. So it's really important to then kind of prioritize what is the main metrics you're going for. Is it just clicks, is it conversions, or is it the cheapest cost per conversion? All of them have caveats to how you want to target your campaigns. A new thing, this again was released just in May, middle of May. It's Google's still in beta. So basically, this is Google AdWords responsive search ads. So this is a brand new feature. Again, you have to have a certain campaign, you have to have a certain size budget with Google and be Google Premier Partners, which we are. And what this allows you to do now is, instead of just having your normal advert where you have like your 2 headlines and then you have part 1 and part 2 in the description, Google recognises that making and testing different ads can be hit and miss. For marketers, we're having split tests, we're doing 2 different versions, maybe put our header at the beginning, or maybe put our price at the beginning, or different variations. And this is really the beginning of where we're seeing Google's AI and Google's machine learning coming into play, which is going to be more and more prevalent as we go on. So what Google's doing now is taking the legwork out of guesswork, or the legwork out of what we believe is working or not. So just by using this new feature, you can put together, I believe it's 5 different headlines and 2 different descriptions. But what that really means is that Google can now have a matrix of like 25 different variables in terms of how they can show their advert, and they'll show that over a period of time. So effectively, this is just one ad unit, but from a user perspective, they're going to see 25 different variations, as well as at the end of it, it will say, with this combination, with this sequence, and this title actually gets the best engagement or gets the best results for your business. So this is going to be really important to see what is resonating with consumers, as well as how you can then find the winning formula to then make sure you have those elements on your website. Because if people are engaging in your price, or engaging in your reputation, or engaging in your USPs more, then you need to make that really clear on your website, because that's what consumers find important and valuable to themselves. This is one that, again, if you're in the PPC space, you may have had this conversation, or you may have thought about this yourself. If you're doing PPC and SEO, the question that comes around every now and again is, should I be bidding under my own brand? And again, we're in the process of doing quite a large test, a 3rd variation of tests on this, where one of our clients did a test earlier in the year, and they found that by bidding under brand on a desktop, that it was actually cannibalizing results from paid. So the data actually showed that just by paying there, yes, we can say SEO is kind of losing. We start seeing that SEO is losing performance and losing revenue, and that's being eaten by Google AdWords. So we were effectively paying Google for customers that would have freely converted. So what we're doing, we're now doing split tests, and we're now actually testing on certain days of the week when we do get bid on the brand, how that performs, as well as working very closely with the SEO team to see, is that cannibalising results? Because there's no point, spending money on something that you would have got for free. What you can do to kind of really look at the data on this is, again, with Google Analytics, Google Search Console and Google AdWords, link them all up together. And then if you go into Google AdWords, you can then go into your Dimensions tab, you can pull in your brand keyword or series of keywords, depending on your website. And you can then see, okay, well, how is performance when I add just with PPC? How is it when it's organic, and how is it combined? So you can see those channels in isolation, as well as you can see any cannibalization inside there. So again, this is a snapshot. I'm sure it's cut off there. So the first kind of line actually shows where the advert is shown only. Then the second is when they're shown with both organic and paid results, and then the last line is just the organic results. So I kind of split this into 3 columns, where you can see effectively these metrics are just clicks, impressions, and position. So it's very easy to work out your click-through rate, because you just divide your clicks by the impressions. And what we're able to see here, again, you can see this in the interface, but it doesn't look as it's not very visually enticing. But we can see, okay, so this is my organic performance, this is my paid performance, and this is my combined performance. Again, looking at it in that form doesn't really tell us a great deal. So again, you need to do more legwork. Google isn't going to give you the answers. You need to kind of think, extract this information, and then you can do your pivot tables and your lookups. And then you can then see, so in this example, we can see for this particular keyword, or one of our clients, in this instance, when just their brand shown in terms of the SEO space, their natural click-through rate, because they rank position 1, is 25%. However, when they then put paid adverts inside it, we can then see that the click-through rate actually goes up to 33%. So we're seeing a rise for organic click-through rates, as well as in terms of the PPC space, when it's just paid traffic, we're seeing an 11% click-through rate, but when they're both running simultaneously, we then see an uplift there, and we have a click-through rate of 56%. So again, these results will all change, so it's important to look at this consistently. You can't just look at it 1 month and think, okay, we need to leave it, set it and forget it. Marketing is not a set it and forget it thing. Your competition will be changing, your consumer behavior will be changing, there'll be other trends in the marketplace you need to be aware of. So measuring and analysing why things are up and down is really important. So again, it's about how to work smartly and how to work efficiently with your time. So just to kind of summarise, it's not about the vanity metrics, it's not about just looking at scraping a report and just dumping that and analysing that. We need to be really mindful about what metrics are we going for, why things are performing in a certain way, and it's not a case of just repeating last month's activity to get the same month's results, because, as I was saying, the digital mindset changes rapidly, and you need to be able to measure and grow very quickly to be successful. Thank you.